Welcome to Chiaroscuro, the Art of Living Life. This pick a card reading is going to be about what is going on with this connection. So, connections come in a variety of different forms. It could be friendships, family, love, you know, in between, co-workers, all different kinds of connections. So, this is really just going to focus on any connection you are feeling with another person at all, whether it's love or not. And we'll kind of see what is going on in the connection, where it's going, and how to change the trajectory if you want it to go in a different direction. There's going to be 3 decks to choose from. I'm going to use these decks for each of the readings. This is going to be pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. There will be a still frame picture listed in the timestamps along with the timestamps of the different readings in the description box below. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thank you for your support. And if you're a new viewer, welcome. Just as a note, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, and especially likes and comments. I'm trying to build my YouTube channel up. So any comment, even like thumbs up, hey, I liked it, is much appreciated. And so don't forget to do that stuff if you did enjoy the reading. This reading will be timeless. So if I recorded this a year ago and you're drawn to the reading, then this means it's the reading for you. Since we are looking into connections, there can be vice versa energy. So I might say somebody is doing this and you're doing this, and that could actually be vice versa. So just take it as it resonates. And keep in mind that these readings are general readings. So some things may resonate and others may not. So just leave what doesn't resonate and take the message that does resonate with you. Thank you again for watching, and I'm going to move on to pile number 1. If you chose pile number 1, this is the reading for you on what is going on with this connection. So let's see what's going on. What's going on with pile number 1? All right, interesting. So we do have indications here that this connection either there is some kind of karmic tie here going on, or there is a rebalancing that needs to happen. I think that maybe there's a truth that isn't fully understood between both parties. Maybe the parties aren't communicating their own truth either. So the rebalancing can kind of happen when you are actually speaking what is true to you. So on the one side, I have one person who is not really interested in contributing to this connection. They're kind of looking elsewhere. They're looking for something else. They're just not feeling very generous, not really wanting to give, maybe not even wanting to say what's really on their mind. And they're just kind of looking elsewhere, like, oh, it'll be easier for me to manifest something new than it is for me to actually give to this connection. And then we have on the other side somebody who is really definitely feeling the connection hard. For some people, when you feel incredibly connected to somebody and you care about them quite a lot, it can be like a tower. This could also be like, maybe you had a one-night stand with somebody and one person like bonded hard to that other person, and the other person's like, no, that was a one-night stand. I'm not going to put any, why would I put any effort into it? That's just what it was. So there is indication here that there are somebody is feeling the connection, definitely, and somebody is not really wanting to put any effort into it at all. All right, where do these current energies lead? Oh, this is so funny. Because you have like all of a sudden the script flips, you know? If current energies stay the way that they are, so this is kind of where it's going. So whoever just didn't want to put any effort into this connection has decided to change their mind. They will eventually decide to change their mind, and they're going to come into this relationship and actually reveal something. They're going to reveal how they feel. So we have very pentacly energy over here. So this is very practical, very grounded. You know, it's not exactly love feeling energy, but this definitely is. So maybe in the past, they have not put in effort into this relationship, and now they want to. Now they're coming to give you something, to offer you something, to reveal something that is coming from their heart. But you, or well, I don't know if this is you, but the person who initially really felt the connection, and then perhaps things definitely fell apart with that Tower card as well, or it really shook them up that they weren't expecting to feel this for somebody, to feel this connected. It kind of came out of nowhere. That other person is struggling a little bit. When this offer comes, there is a little bit of struggle because there's some defensiveness. You know, you didn't treat me right in the past, and a feeling like I've got to stay on guard, so that I can peep out if they're engaging in this behavior again. Even though they've totally flipped the script and what they're coming at you with is legit, you're kind of like, I don't know that I believe it. And in order for you to continue to engage in this connection, you're going to have to kind of let go of what happened in the past, and believe in your ability to actually kind of know if it's not going in the right direction. Like you'll be able to know. You don't have to be quite so defensive, because you will know if like you see this person going back into the way that they were. It's not like it's just going to kind of sneak up on you, because you're very focused on it. So you're very aware of that. And in order for it to move forward, all of a sudden you've got this person coming at you who wasn't coming at you before, and you're kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, I did feel this connection, but what you did in the past is making me hesitate. It's making me not want to engage in this anymore. But interestingly, it does seem that some kind of truth comes out. Something comes out. It's so funny. It totally looks like there is the scales. In order to rebalance, the person who didn't put any effort in suddenly wants to put in effort, and the person who was willing to put in effort before is kind of like, I don't know. It's like this runner-chaser dynamic that is now switching back and forth. So what can be done to iron out this situation? So there's definitely something that can be achieved here. You can actually achieve an equilibrium in this connection. It is actually achievable. you guys can come together in a complete way. And I think actually that is part of the key, that whatever may be going on here, both people have to find their own sense of completeness first before they can come together. Because we've got one person who's been acting a fool because they feel incomplete, and you have another person who felt bound to this connection immediately, felt this intense connection, that may have been using that to supplement their connection with themselves, which is partly probably why the other person's misbehavior hurt so bad, because the one person was supplementing their own connection with themselves, their own sense of wholeness, like this person completes me, kind of thing, like this person completed me, and now it's gone, and now I'm not whole, instead of finding your own sense of wholeness on your own and having it not being dependent on another person. I do see that these are kind of things that need to be let go of. The person who didn't show up right to begin with has to acknowledge the ways in which they are perhaps manipulative. It's almost like there's a game that they're used to playing that they have to let go of. They're also hiding aspects of themselves. They're not showing the real them, which is doing a disservice to this connection. In fact, I feel like both parties actually here are kind of wearing masks. This person is not showing the true version of them. Then you have the person on the other side who is focused on all of the things that they don't like. And so as a result, it feels almost like they're putting on this mask of protection. Like, I've got to protect myself from this person because this person's hurt me in the past by not participating in this connection. And so I'm focusing on all of these things that went wrong instead of focusing on the things that could go right, or that are right, or that are working. But it's kind of hard. I think it's really hard for both parties to actually know where each other stands, because neither person's showing up right in a way. One person's acting a fool and the other is overprotective. So there isn't a vulnerability, there isn't an exposure going on. You know, like the figure in the world is naked, is exposed, is vulnerable, is revealing what's going on inside of her. And so I think that really needs to happen, where somebody needs to reveal, you know, the person who initially started acting a fool needs to talk about what is going on with them. Why did they do this? Why are they unstable? Why are they all over the place? Like, what's going on in their head that made them do this? And this other person needs to tell the other person what it was that made them unhappy. They need to acknowledge the ways in which that they were hurt and say it out loud. Tell this person, so that the air can be cleared and something can actually be worked out. Interesting. So both of you guys are resisting. You're resisting something. You have death reversed. I also am wondering if divine timing, it feels like there's divine timing here. Maybe the time isn't right, but somebody is resisting, or both people are resisting doing what needs to be done for this connection. From what I'm seeing, I think it's this person over here who initially started acting a fool. And it's interesting, by talking things out, by actually revealing, both people openly revealing what's going on inside of them, you have one person who kind of feels validated in a sense. In a way, I feel like the person who initially felt this connection really hard is kind of like, I was right. It's almost like confirmation. My judgment was correct on this. And then you have the other person who acted a fool who's like, I'm going to need some time to think about this. Because I think you have one person who is acknowledging the bond and one person who's not. They do know something's there. We know we have the Knight of Cups. They do know that there is a connection, but they aren't recognizing it quite at the level that this person who initially felt it is acknowledging it. And I think that they need some time to kind of process what's going on. I'm not sure that they're ready for the depth of this connection. I'm not sure entirely that this other person is either, because they're still very focused on the negative. But it's interesting because on the one hand, one person, the connection is validated in this. There is a bond, there is something that is cleared up, where one person is like, I was right. There is a connection here. There is something intense here. There is something different and magical here. And I was also correct in how I was evaluating things along the way. Because I'm almost seeing you like though you may have, but whomever this person is who initially really felt this connection. And then the other person acted a fool. And it's almost like they took a little bit of a step back. Somebody is, I hate to say it this way, but somebody is a little bit more evolved here. One person is very in tune with energies, very in tune with even how they're working. Like they even may be very aware, like in order for this to work, I've got to move away from the things that happened in the past. And I know that I'm focusing on the negative, and I know I'm erring towards self-protection. But I think you're going to see that however you did protect yourself in the past was the right choice. It gives you confidence in yourself to be able to choose, which is going to kind of alleviate some fears that you're having here about like maybe I'm not capable of choosing the right partner, the right connection, blah, 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 you know. But I would watch out here for a little bit of ego, because I'm feeling a little bit like, haha, I was right and you were wrong. And this connection is not about whether you're right or wrong. It's about both people coming together and figuring out a way to work with their differing perspectives. Because we do have this death card reversed. So they're you know, though you end up in this situation, one person needs some time, some space to kind of think things through, and the other is kind of like, I'm victorious. These energies aren't conducive to actually any transformation and anything moving forward. So it's interesting. You have this, there is a connection. You've got some runner-chaser energy going on here. This could be a soulmate connection. The push and the pull. But it's almost like the timing isn't right. Something's got to change first before the timing's right. But it does seem necessary, even though it doesn't appear to lead to that change quite yet. It is necessary for the both of you to actually really talk about what's going on between the two of you. To have that hard conversation. I want to pull a couple clarifiers on some of these. Use this one. I have a feeling that when you do talk, the one that the one that's really in tune to the connection isn't really surprised by anything, and the one who's been messing around and hasn't been showing up right is going to be surprised by some of this stuff. So they will need time to process it, because they aren't as in tune. They haven't been. They've probably been more within themselves, dealing with whatever they need to deal with, and not really looking external very much, which has probably been part of the problem. And so they're going to need some time to kind of process what you tell them, because it's going to seem like it kind of came out of nowhere, or they just weren't at all aware that it was happening. So you already kind of, one person already kind of knows, and the other person didn't have any clue. And so they need that time, they need some space to kind of think things over. They may also need a little bit of space, because I would imagine that this talk's going to be pretty intense, because there is an intense connection going on, and that may scare them, so they may need a little bit of a break, like, whew, that was so intense. It's not that they don't want to, it's not that they don't want to be around you, it's just that, like, whoa, I feel unstable, I feel rocked, I feel uncentered, I need to restabilize here, because I'm feeling all over the place. It's so funny. This is just not the right time for you. I'm really sorry. I wish I could give you a little bit better news, but you are going to get news when you do talk. You are going to get news that there is love there. You're going to see. There's going to be clarity. There's going to be a different level of communication. You'll both have love for each other, but for some reason, it isn't the right time. We have the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Somebody or both people aren't in the position to put any effort into this relationship. Either that, or somebody's expecting perfection, and it isn't perfect. This connection there's definitely indications that it's going to be teaching both of you things. So it isn't going to be perfect. So on the one hand, maybe somebody just, the person who didn't show up right to begin with, maybe they aren't in the position to put any effort into it, even though they care about you deeply. And you aren't in the position to put any effort into it because you're expecting it to be perfect 100%. And it just isn't. It's something else. And you need to come to terms with the fact, maybe this person over here is learning about unconditional love. That ability to love somebody despite what is going on. And not expecting everything to be perfect all the time. But there is clarity. There is an understanding that's coming, where you both see how much you do actually care about each other. It just can't go forward right now. And I think this has a lot to do with the person who didn't show up right to begin with. Oops. Again, we've got the King of Wands twice reversed on their side. So and then I have the Devil reversed. So there's something they have to break out of. Maybe they aren't used to connecting. Maybe they are struggling with understanding spirituality or something higher. Maybe they're resisting that. Maybe there's a purpose that they need in their life that they're denying. The way that they're doing things for them isn't working, and they're not recognizing that, and they're not breaking free. They're not trying something different. They're not going deep. They have to break out of this like listlessness, this lack of purpose, this lack of direction, this lack of vision even. They may be depressed. And we have the Ace of Wands reversed with the King of Wands reversed. They don't have anything to give you until they break out of this, and that's why this is stalling. That's probably what they end up saying. And then in a way, they go and they retreat, because it's almost like they had to admit something to you that they found shameful. I'm seeing they have feelings for you. They feel this connection. They want it. And to admit that they can't do it, that they can't be that person that you want right now, I think that is a difficult thing for them. Or even just coming to that realization. It's hard for them. It's hard for them to admit it, that they aren't in the right spot. But I think this is part of, when you have a connection like this, it's going to reveal where you are weak. Just like on this other side, it's revealing to this other person the ways that they have been focusing on the negative, the ways that they hold on to, maybe the ways that they've been hurt and they don't let it go because they don't actually communicate it, so it just stews inside. As opposed to communicating, hey, this hurt me when you did this, and being open and taking that risk of being vulnerable in order to facilitate a different level of communication. Both people are learning here, and they both have to learn what they have to learn before anything can happen. But it isn't the time. It isn't happening. Because one person doesn't want to break out of their ways, doesn't want to stop these reckless ways. They don't, for whatever reason, they don't want to take responsibility for what they're doing on some level. And maybe they just can't look at themselves. Maybe they don't want to admit that they've done things that have hurt somebody, or that they've acted in ways that weren't true to them, because it hurts them to realize how far that they've separated from themselves. On the other hand, we've got this other person who's going to get a little dose of reality here. But it's okay. It's not like a bad dose of reality. I think it's something that is necessary, because this other person who initially felt the connection is able to release a lot. They're able to tell the other person the ways in which they were hurt, and they're able to release it, to let it go. And then they also get very clear about the situation, about what is going on. In a way, it's almost like you finally know where, this person knows where they stand now. They know this person cares, and they know that they just can't be together right now. And it's not a reflection on them. It's because other things are going on. I would be curious. I'm going to pull a couple extra cards. Let's see. Advice. Let's do advice for both people. All right. Person over here, King of Wands reversed, we'll call him. I have luck is on your side. By the way, these cards are not gender specific. It's just there is a masculine energy. I have a knight and a king, and I had another king show up on this side, so I'm assuming that this is the side that has the dominant masculine energy, and this one's going to be the more feminine energy, because I'm seeing the representation of the masculine on this side. That doesn't mean you're a man. It just means whoever is embodying the masculine energy is over here. You have somebody acting a fool, and you have another person receiving, the masculine and the feminine. All right, for the masculine, luck is on your side. New moon in Sagittarius. So, if you are the masculine, this is time to kind of focus here. When I see this card a lot, I think of that bow and arrow, that Sagittarian bow and arrow. There you could be Sagittarius over here, because we do have the King of Wands, that fire energy. This is about focus, and to me, it's kind of like when you take that bow and you notch that arrow and you pull that back and you look at the target. You are actively focused on where you want to go, what you want to do, and then you let it go, pew, and that arrow shoots. And once you let that arrow go, you have no more control over it. You did your part, but you still had the focus. You still lined up the shot. You still figured out what you want to shoot at. And I think this masculine over here has to figure out what they want. And what they want at this point, they're going to get. But they need to figure out what they want in life, is what I'm seeing. Because once they figure out what they want in life, they'll know whether or not this person fits into it. But they're scattered all over the place, and they focus will really, really help them. I also think with luck on your side, that masculine's got to be aware that I'm betting that they're manifesting quite a lot right now. And you may be in danger of manifesting what you don't want, because bad luck is simply a manifestation of good luck in a way. Just you're focused on the bad things, so you get more of it. So watch where your focus is, even if you don't know how you're going to get there. You know, that arrow shooting at that dark moon, you can't see the target. Maybe you don't know how to get there, but it doesn't matter. Once you let that arrow go loose, it does what it does. You don't have to do anything. So I think that this person really needs some time to figure out what they want. Person on the other side, we have surrender to the divine, full moon. So if you guys if you do end up having this nice heart-to-heart conversation, let it go. And I was seeing you do that with that 10 of Wands reversed. Just leave it up to the universe whether or not this turns into anything. Don't worry about it. Don't try to force anything. Don't call them. Don't hound them. Don't get mad because they're taking time away to figure out what they want. Just let it go. Let it go and understand that the universe, whatever plan is in place for you, is going to be the best. So either this person comes to you or they don't. Maybe somebody else does. But it's almost like stop also placing expectations on this connection. Just let the universe do what it does. So while you over here are more embracing even more of a yin energy, that more feminine energy of receiving. I'm not going to place expectations on this. I'm not going to force anything to happen. I'm just going to let Source, the universe, God, provide me with what is right for me on my path. I'm just going to let it go. Because you did, in a way, we have this giant full moon. You did get the clarity. You got some clarity. Now you can relax. Now the burden of this, the stress of this, you can relax. And just see how it goes. See how it goes. Let me get one more. We have regeneration. I think that this is about both of you working on yourself. This connection can be a distraction from the healing that each of you have to do. There's healing that has to happen. And I don't remember specifically what this card is about, but I'm feeling like this connection can create, at this time, it will create a distraction from the work the both of you need to do internally. So the only way that something can grow from this is if you guys each grow yourselves. And so that's why it's kind of like surrender to the divine, figure out what you want. Unfortunately, it isn't going anywhere right now. Aside from really clearing things up and releasing the confusion that has been existing. Which that is fantastic. Then it's not stressful anymore. Then you know. All right, this concludes the reading for deck number 1. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know if it resonates. Also, it helps support my channel. And thank you for watching. I'm going to move on to pile number 2. If you chose pile number 2, this is going to be the reading for you on what is going on in this connection. All right, I'm going to shuffle these up for pile number 2. What is going on in this connection? Pile number 2. I'm seeing a little bit of a power struggle here. We have the Emperor in the middle between the two of you. So I think that there's a power struggle. That is also the father archetype, so there may be issues with a father figure. Or somebody maybe you have been viewing as a father figure as well. But I do have a power, I see a power struggle. Who's leading this connection? Who's the boss? It's almost like both people are, they can't feel comfortable in a connection unless they are the one in control of it, is what I'm hearing. Which is that's what's creating the power struggle. All right, we've got one person. It kind of looks like something may have ended, or talking about ending, because we do have the World here and the Five of Pentacles reversed. So I feel like somebody's kind of ended something that they felt empty in, like it wasn't going anywhere, it wasn't growing, it wasn't developing for this person. They ended it. It wasn't developing. It just stayed at like one level for them, and not a very deep level. The other person here feels very betrayed. Maybe they took a chance. Because I see this person over here, it almost feels like they were, I don't want to say reclusive, but like kind of minding their own business, doing their own thing. They weren't really looking for anything, and they took a chance. They kind of came out of that for this connection. Maybe a little bit too early, to be honest. And they're feeling very betrayed. They're feeling very hurt by this ending. Like, I did this for you, and then it ended. Is kind of what I'm getting there. I think also this person over on this side may be lacking a clear understanding of why things went the way they did, why they were betrayed. Maybe there's closure that they need, because it almost seems like it just kind of, I don't know, one person's kind of like, I don't think that this connection can go any further, and the other person's kind of like, I don't understand why it can't, and I'm feeling betrayed by this. You know what, let's get a clarifier card on this Emperor. Yep, this is basically just supporting what I was saying earlier. About the control, about the power struggles. It has to do with fear. But it's almost like somebody's, or both people's worst fears are kind of coming to light. Y'all are triggering each other's worst fears. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. Where's this leading? It is very interesting. Okay. So the person who's feeling betrayed is feeling hurt, is fearing that the person they're connecting with is cheating on them, is partying too much, is not sincere in the feelings or the way that they're telling them that they feel. So this person who's feeling betrayed is actually, the betrayal is coming from them. They're actually self-sabotaging in this. And they aren't going forward in creating any kind of connection because they're scared. They're scared that somebody is going to dismiss them for something else, whether it's partying, whether it's another person, whether it's just not understanding them. There's a fear that this person has that is sabotaging their ability to connect with another person. So that's where their power struggle comes in. They want the power, they want the control, they want either the communication or the clarity or they want something from this other person to ease that fear that actually has nothing to do with this other person. It's something that they've got inside of them, and it's self-sabotaging, and it's creating controlling tendencies, because then it makes them feel more secure instead of dealing with that fear, they're putting it on this other person to resolve that fear. And it's also preventing them from connecting. It isn't going any deeper because that fear creeps in, and this person doesn't want to commit, doesn't want to open themselves up anymore because they think this other person's going to hurt them. But I'm seeing that it's kind of just like, it's an unconscious creation. It's something that just kind of comes out, and they sabotage themselves in relationships with this fear. The other person who's kind of like, it's not getting any deeper, we're not developing. The other person who's feeling that over here, they are considering walking away. They're kind of withdrawing. So if they haven't already ended things, they're considering it. They're considering some space. They're considering not being as involved, not seeing the other person quite as much. And this is because they can't handle this. They don't know what to do. And in a way, they feel like it's not their responsibility to ease this fear that this other person has, because I don't think they feel like they haven't done anything wrong. But they have no skills to handle somebody who is reacting to them in this way when they're not, they're not doing anything wrong. They just don't know how to deal with this. And it's almost like their inability to know how to deal with it is fueling this other person's fear, because, the other person is like, yeah, but you didn't say X, Y, and Z, and you didn't do this right. And if you had said this verbatim, that would have meant you would have loved me. And they're like, I don't know what to do. Just because I don't know what to do doesn't mean I'm messing around. I don't know how to handle this. I'm feeling this like frustration, like I care about you. I want this to grow and progress, but I can't deal with your issues. I don't know how, and it isn't also my responsibility. So maybe we need a little bit of space, because I don't know what to do. And every time I try to do something, you get more mad at me because it isn't the right thing to do. Ooh, I'm feeling that frustration. I'm feeling that that energy of like, please work with me. And then this other person's like, no. That fear kicks in so hard and takes over so hard that person's like, no, you wronged me. And they're like, I know I said I would text you at 9 p.m. and I texted you at 9:05. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. But they're feeling very disempowered. They're feeling like they don't have the ability to create, no matter what they do, it isn't right. And so this relationship can't grow, because they feel like, though you are wonderful, no matter what they do, it just feeds into the fear of this other person, because their fears are so out of control. All right, this can be worked out. So numero uno, person over here who's feeling very frustrated. The frustrated person. We'll call it the frustrated person and the fearful person, just to make it easier to discuss. So the frustrated person has got to communicate how destabilizing the fears of this other person are to this relationship. Their own frustrations, their own feelings of inadequacy, that this relationship, the fears of the other person are beating them up. It's destabilizing. And that they don't view it as being able to go anywhere. In fact, it's almost like we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. It's almost like they feel like there's codependency being created here, and it isn't what they want. It isn't what they signed up for. It isn't the person, that they initially met. It isn't who they initially, what was initially shown to them. And it's like the more the relationship develops, the person who's in fear just goes more and more and more and more and more in fear. And they've got to realize this. That the ways that they feel disappointed or let down by this person are a result of their fear, and not because that person did anything. That they are generating codependent tendencies here. They've got to own their side of things, and I don't see them doing that. They're so in fear that they feel justified in whatever it is that they're doing. even though more than likely nothing really has happened to aggravate those fears. It's just simply that they are developing feelings for this person, and so those fears are kicking in. They don't really have a lot of control over it, which is on them. This is something they should be working on controlling, reframing, working on the mind and their perspective and how they're seeing things. They're not really taking any control of that. They're putting it all on the other person who's the frustrated person. It's that it's the frustrated person's responsibility to make me feel better. And that's what the codependent tendency is. That's what the frustrated person is really starting to buck and feel constricted by. That is going to push this other person away, if it hasn't already happened. And it in a way, it sucks because I do see them actually sincerely wanting to put an effort into this. Really liking the person in fear, even though they're in fear. All they want is for that person to recognize and acknowledge where they're malfunctioning instead of putting it on them. They're just looking for some openness, a higher level of understanding. They can work with somebody who says, I am so afraid that this is going to happen and my fears are acting up and I'm freaking out and I don't know what to do. They can work with that. I don't know how to handle this. I don't know how to fix this. They may be able to work with that. But right now, all of the person in fear is putting all of the blame on the other person. And they're like, I didn't even do anything wrong. So there isn't anything for me to fix. I don't understand. So the person that's frustrated needs to be communicating this with the person in fear. Very calmly, very unemotionally, if that makes sense. You don't want to get too wrapped up in the emotions of the frustration, where it's just this is really destabilizing for me, and I want to work on this with you, but you don't want to work on it with me. You just want me to be the bad guy, and I can't. Your happiness is not my responsibility. Your happiness is your own responsibility, just like my happiness is my own responsibility. And I'm happy to support you in any way I can, but I can't fix it for you. And then the person in fear has got to own where they're going wrong. I'm seeing a huge resistance to them owning where they're going wrong because they feel justified because of the fears that are talking. But if the person in fear can recognize where they're contributing, how they're contributing to this, can recognize their own fears and the ways that they are generating codependent behaviors that aren't healthy, that's the first step. And it's interesting because they need to the person in fear needs to recognize this. This person on the other side who's frustrated needs to buck up and have the tough conversation. Not fear conflict. Don't worry about it. Do it nicely. Have the tough conversation. Tell them how their behavior is tearing you up. Because if you do that, you then become less defensive. You don't have to walk around on eggshells anymore. Oh God, I gotta jump from pole to pole, and if I don't do it right, if I don't land in the right perfect way, I'm gonna crash and burn and fall in the water. That kind of goes away. That the frustrated person doesn't have to walk on eggshells anymore. And the fearful person actually is able to open up their heart in a way that they haven't been before. They're able to really open up. They're able to express themselves. They're able to feel safe enough to open up because this person took charge and said, this isn't right. And they're like, you know what? I didn't realize that it was that bad, and you're right. And they reveal something. They reveal, I'm this way because I care about you that much. And suddenly, everything seems much more workable. We have the sun. This is also about revealing, exposing, being vulnerable. But it also, things become a lot more fun. This is such a heavy energy. It's like it started off fun and it moved away and it never grew into anything else. And now it can. Now things can grow because a new line of communication has opened up. People are taking responsibility. You know, maybe the person who's frustrated takes responsibility for the fact that that they're afraid of conflict, and that they didn't tell the person in fear that this stuff was happening, that it was making them feel this way sooner. And then the person in fear owns what they're doing. And everybody owns their role, which then now the frustrated person doesn't have to walk on eggshells anymore. The stress, gets relieved. The person in fear realizes that there's love in the relationship. They start opening up. They start doing the things that they weren't doing before. And then the relationship gets back to fun. It gets to a whole new level. A new level of communication is established. So moving forward, it's a lot easier to talk about these things because you guys took the steps to do it and did it in a really calm, like, not reactive way. And the relationship really lightens up. It really gets fun. It starts to grow. It starts to move. Wow. Unfortunately, though, I think that the easiest way for this to starts with this person who's frustrated. I think they have to initiate this conversation because the person in fear can't see what for what right now. They're so enmeshed in fear that they aren't going to be the ones that come forward to do anything because they're in protection mode. So the person who's frustrated has to be the bigger person and initiate this conversation and tell the person in fear the ways that their fear is overriding the relationship, the ways it's destabilizing them, the ways that it's messing things up, the ways that it's preventing the relationship from growing, the ways in which it's beating the frustrated person down where they feel like they can't do anything and that nothing they do is good enough. They need to tell all of this. And the person in fear is going to see. They're going to get a big dose of reality, of truth. And then they're going to open up. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't want to make you feel this way. I actually really care about you. And then it shifts. Instead of two people doing their own thing, it kind of comes together. Then you're able to communicate about the tough stuff. Because this is tough. It's tough for the frustrated person to say, basically, you make me feel disempowered. And for the fear person to acknowledge that their fears are messing up the relationship. And it's hard for the frustrated person to say, I don't like conflict. This is hard for me. This is hard for me to have this conversation. But I care about you, and so I'm going to do it. It's like leading by example. The fear person's like, I know this about you. I know you don't like conflict. And the fact that you're doing this, the fact that you're stepping up to the plate and you're pushing yourself where you're really uncomfortable, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to give now. I'm going to give that. I'm going to give that back, if that makes sense. All right. Advice for the frustrated person. Don't let pride get in your way. Full moon in Leo. Yeah. Pride, that's where the power struggle's coming in. Who is this person? Why they're accusing me of all this stuff that's false? This is BS. This is stupid. Don't let pride get in the way. You can work this out. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's about coming together to work it out together. Because a relationship isn't about one person and one person. It's about two people working together to achieve something else. So don't let pride get in the way. Don't let anger get in the way. This can be worked out. The way that you can help tame this pride is that you are, for the frustrated person, you're malfunctioning too. All of this isn't on that person with fear because you aren't telling them what's going on. You aren't telling them how you feel. You aren't telling them the level of frustration that you're feeling. And so you're doing the same thing that person in fear is doing. You're expecting them to just know. You're expecting them to read your mind. You're doing the same thing. So sacrifice that pride. Be the first one. Be the bigger person. Take those steps, and this definitely gets worked out. It definitely gets worked out if you take the steps to talk about this. For the person in fear, the answers you need are coming. Full moon in Gemini. Relax. I've got two moon. Well, I mean, these are moonology cards, but we do have two full moons here. So something's getting illuminated. Part of the reason you're probably reacting in fear is because this person's not telling you how they feel. You're picking up on that. And you're thinking that they're lying. You're interpreting that as you're lying. Your intuition is kicking in. Something's not right. You think they're cheating on somebody else, or that they're partying, or they're lying, or whatever. When really they don't want the conflict of opening up about how they're really feeling about this relationship. So I think that's what this is saying. The answers you need are coming. When this person opens up, when the frustrated person opens up, you get the answers you seek. Your intuition is not wrong that something is off, but your fears are kicking in and telling you that what's off is something other than what it is. That it's bigger than what it is. And as a result, you're aggravating what's going on because you continue to behave in these codependent patterns inspired by your fear. The answers are coming. So this is kind of like, relax. You don't force anything, by the way. You can't force this conversation. You can't force this person to talk if they're not ready. But they will. They will talk because they do. It's like they want to give it one more try. Before cutting any cords, they want to see if this can be worked out because they do value you that much, and you're worth more than them just kind of walking away. But if they do come to you, person in fear, be aware that this is a very make or break conversation. You may not get a do-over. So when the answers come to you, whether you like them or not, appreciate that this person is giving you the answers. Come from that place, because then that will actually facilitate more conversation. If you don't like what they say and you react in fear, their pride's going to kick in and they're going to shut down and they're not going to talk anymore. And that's going to be it. So it's going to require you, person in fear, to grow up a little bit, to respond more maturely to a conflict than the ways that you have in the past. All right. I hope this helps. This seems completely workoutable, interestingly enough. And if you do the right stuff, it's actually going to really build something solid between the two of you. So I hope that it works out. And thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know if it resonates to support the channel. And I'm going to move on to pile number 3. If you chose pile number 3, this is going to be the reading for you on what's going on in this connection. I'll give it a couple of shuffles. See, it's been pretty interesting readings so far. For pile number 3, what's going on in this connection? Interesting. So there is the potential for love here. I think you've got two people seeing a potential for love. We have the Ace of Cups in the middle. The potential to develop this relationship into something more. So maybe you're friends, maybe you just kind of casually dating. Maybe you're coworkers, but because it's not a relationship yet, a love relationship. but it seems that but it seems it is somebody you know, and that the potential for that is there. So we have person on one side who is, this is interesting. They may be feeling a little bit intimidated, is what I'm getting from this. Or maybe not up to the task of a commitment. However, the more that they engage with you, the more it's like they're opening up Pandora's box. You know, the more they learn about you, the more and more they view you, excuse me, as long-term relationship material. But it's like the more they learn about you, the less confident they feel about themselves. The more they doubt you will reciprocate the feelings that they have for you, or even that they're worthy of you, interestingly. And then over here we've got another person. The other one who kind of gets it. This person on the other side kind of gets it. They see that this will take time. They're willing to put in the effort. And they're actually pretty chill about what's going on. Like any ways in which this other person is reacting due to like lack of confidence or lack of belief in the love, they're not really worried about it. They're not fazed. This person feels very solid in their own energy. Very connected. And they're just kind of like, all right, it's going to take some time. Whatever. It's not bothering me. I know what's really going on. I see the bigger picture. I know what's going on. I get it. It's just going to take some time. But it's worth me investing in this person to get there. And eventually, this person believes that they will reap what they've sown into this connection. Man. Again, very stable person on this side. We're going to call it the unstable person and the stable person. Because the stable person over here, who's like just kind of plodding along, in it for the long haul, is like, okay, you do what you do. I don't know, this person just feels so chill. Like, I'm going to keep doing my thing. I'm going to keep being a baller. I'm going to keep creating the life that I want. I'm not going to let whatever you're doing stop me. I'm not going to get distracted. And you know, they're still there. It's like I'm still there for you. I'll still invest in this, but it's not my priority. I've got dreams that I'm chasing. I've got things that I want to do. Things I want to accomplish, and I'm not going to let your instability drag me down. I'm not going there with you. I'm going to just keep doing my thing. I'm still there for you, but I'm not going down to the level. I'm not going to meet you there. You got to come up to me, or I'll find somebody else. It's kind of like this person's really not worried about the connection at all. They care about this other person, the unstable person. They care about them. But they're not letting this person's nonsense pull them down, if that makes sense. Kudos. Good job. Wow. Pile number 3. Other person over here, different story. They are, it's almost like they they see the potential in this connection, and yet they're withdrawing from it. They are in a very selfish place right now because they have to rebound. They have to find their center. So it's almost like there is a connection here. It could develop into something else. But right now, this person who knows what they want and is very grounded and very balanced is inspiring this other person to get to be more grounded and more balanced. They're seeing the ways in which they've been selfish and cold and disconnected. They're seeing the ways in which that they need to find a more moderate path where the path lies for them. Maybe they've been very extreme in their behavior in the past, going from high to low and swinging all around. And they see that they need something a little bit more moderate that may involve even in working with other people. They may have been super selfish and all about them and their needs in the past, but now they're seeing the benefit of kind of working together, because even though this isn't a relationship yet, there is love, there's the potential for it to be that. There is this person who is like, cool, you do what you do. It's not affecting me. I still care about you. I'm still going to be there for you, but I'm going to do my thing. And it's like inspiring. It's like another way of being that this other person has never even considered. Like they've never seen somebody care but not engage in the instability. It just doesn't bother them. If it does, it bothers them very, very slightly, and then they go off and they do something that they're passionate about, that they feel good about, and they don't wallow in it. And so this stable person is showing this unstable person that there is a stable, better life that can be had. And maybe before, where this person was thinking like, oh, I like being, the wild and crazy. This person over here, stable, but there's a wild streak there. But it's stable. It's creative. It's exciting. It's like, I don't really know how to explain it. They are a balanced person. They're solid. But they're also wild, but they're not extreme, if that makes sense. They still can have fun and do quirky stuff without being extreme. And it's almost like this person's never met anyone like that, or even considered that life can still be fun without being extreme. They're also withdrawing because they need to rebalance as well. I can't remember if I said that already. I might have. All right, so I want a clarifying card on this. So something's changing. Something's going to be changing here. It's going to happen pretty subtly. Suddenly, not subtly, I'm sorry. It's interesting. Something's going to change. Something's changing in this connection. And I think Maybe somebody needs help. We have the we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles. I'm wondering if something kind of falls apart for somebody, not really related to this connection. Like, I think maybe something else happens in life that actually rocks the stable person, and they don't know what to do. They don't know how to move forward. And the unstable person, actually, their own instability actually helps in this situation. They're able to kind of come in and I don't want to say rescue necessarily, but kind of like offer a little bit of support and kind of some other options. Like, they're able to see more, just because they've lived such an extreme life, they're able to see many different options, if that makes sense, and offer a different way that the stable person isn't seeing. So there's some kind of assistance. What does this lead to? Let's pull the rest of the cards. No, I know what this is. Something is revealed. Something is revealed that this stable person over here, they're not going to like. And they're going to be like, no, I don't think I want to get involved with this. What in the world is happening here? Let's clarify this one. Yeah, it's almost like the stable person's recognizing we have the Devil reversed, ultimately, as it's breaking free of the bonds of this. Maybe this is a karmic relationship, where this stable person is supposed to learn that they are capable of making the right decisions. Where they're actually breaking free of the past chains that binds them. Their fears, their hurts, they're breaking free of that, and they're doing their thing. They're cool, they're open-minded, but then something happens between these two people that the stable person is just like, and they don't want to fight. We have the Five of Swords here, reversed. They don't want to fight. They don't want it. Instead of trying to fix it, instead of trying to prove something, they're just kind of like, nah, this isn't what I want. And then they transform, they break free of this old stuff, all the old traumas, all the old hurts, by not engaging in it anymore. They're learning how to break those karmic ties to set themselves free. This other person, this unstable person, it's almost like they lie about something. I hate to say that. Or they aren't clear about it, or or they reveal a way in which they haven't been honest in the past. And that's what this Tower is here. It's like juggling two people. It's kind of almost how I'm feeling about this. Instead of offering support and offering a gift, which that also could be a narrative for a few of you, where something falls apart for the stable person and the unstable person kind of is able to help it out. They're able to get clever and prevent a situation. That they help this stable person break free of this situation that they don't know what to do with. They're kind of clever in their way of doing things. That's definitely, I think, a small narrative going on here. And then by helping stable person break free of this uncomfortable situation they don't know what to do with, in a way it kind of breaks the relationship free of any of the past karma that was preventing it from moving forward. For others of you, I see that this unstable person, they either reveal something from their past that stable person doesn't like. It just doesn't work for them. They don't know what to do with it, and they don't want to fight, but they kind of they don't really engage with it, and they are in essence starting this transformative process of breaking free of repeating the karmic ties, the toxic relationships that they've repeated in the past. They're not doing it anymore because they know better, and they're much more grounded, and they're just like, you know what, I'm not even gonna get mad at you about this, because like, you got your life, you're doing what you're doing, it just doesn't work for me, and I'm gonna go on my own way. And this other person over here is not being honest about something. Either they had, they were juggling two people at once, or they said that they were trying to get it together and that wasn't true. Like they were trying to get to rebalance, and it comes out that they really haven't been, or they aren't, maybe they're lying to themselves about the ways in which they're trying to improve. They're not being honest with themselves, and then that's the Tower moment, that the stable person realizes that that this unstable person just is not doing the self-reflection they need to. They're not willing to make the changes to make their life better. They say they are, but then they don't. And it's just kind of like, nah, I want something else. Yeah, you're cute and all, but... And there could be the potential for something, but there isn't at this point. Because this is just more of what the stable person has dealt with in the past, and they know how this goes, so they're not interested in re-engaging in it. I think for the unstable person, if this is the case, they're going to act like it doesn't bother them. But it does. And I think it's going to be a rude awakening for them on how they need to improve themselves. It's almost like getting called out on your BS without really getting called out on it. Just being like, no, this just isn't it for me. I'm sorry. And what they were considering as like, they see this stable person as this wonderful long-term partner, and they doubt their ability to have it. It seems rightfully so. They aren't ready for it. And then this may be the motivation that then gets them to get their crap together. Show the world the real you. Full moon in Aquarius. So unstable person, I hate calling it that. You're just confused. You're finding yourself, basically. That's why you seem unstable. You're finding yourself. This is kind of a similar reading a little bit to pile number 1, just in case if this is somewhat resonating, pile 1 may resonate more with you. But this person over here, they have to find out who they are. Part of all the reason there's all this instability is that they don't know who they are. They don't trust in themselves. They don't even trust in themselves to enter into a committed relationship, because they might change their mind or do something else because they don't know what they want. They're also not showing the real them. So That could be what this deception is. How is this other person ever going to be able to know you or trust you if you aren't showing the real you? You're lying by default. By hiding who you are, you aren't being honest. And they may be picking up on that to some degree. And maybe this tower moment is that something gets revealed that they didn't know about. Or another mask gets put on. And they're just like, no, enough of this. I want the real deal, and unless you can show me the real deal, then I'm not interested. And so that's what gets spurred here. This person has more success with this other one if they are authentic for whatever it is. Enjoy their weird, quirky self. That's what this person over here wants to see that they're not showing. And then for the person on the other side, you and your loved ones are safe. New moon in Cancer. This is really just reaffirming that you know what to do. You're safe. You will make the right decisions. You can trust that you are safe, that whatever happens here, you will make the right decisions. Because you are coming from a very stable, balanced place. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is this Eight of Cups reversed. The not knowing like how to move, the not moving. That could throw you a little bit out of balance, but you're so in balance, that would probably just be a little bit of a minor wobble. You would notice that right away and you would be able to amend it, because I see you then amending it. Like, no, even though I wobbled a little bit, I'm not engaging in this and I'm going to set myself free. You can do it. This is very interesting. I want to get a little bit more final advice. Something's coming out. There's what once seemed like it would be happy and harmonious is actually moving into a different direction. Because somebody isn't being honest about their ability to handle things. Somebody again is putting up a false face. But I'm seeing the false-faced person is the one who ends up getting hurt the most, to be honest. Because this person over here isn't going to dwell in the hurt of it for very long. They might get a little zesty at first, but they aren't really going to, they're moving on. They're like, no. I want something else. And it's this person over here that gets hurt the most, because probably for the first time in their life, they're being, I don't want to say necessarily rejected, but they're being rejected because they aren't being them. They aren't being truthful about who they are. And they've probably experienced some rejection in their life for their masks, which made it easier to deal with. It's easier to deal with a part of you being rejected than, the whole thing. But in this case, they're getting rejected because they aren't showing the real them. And that will be a first for them. That's kind of a wake-up call. To get this commitment, this partner that they see and idealize, and this person would be perfect. To get that, they have to be them, and that's never occurred to them. So this is a big learning experience. As for how it eventually evolves, I don't know, but currently, right now what I'm seeing is that somebody's going to be moving on because this isn't what they want. And that is kind of a spark of inspiration for this other person who's just been messing around. Who isn't being honest about who they are. It's not that they're messing around, because they are taking this seriously to some degree. But what they're not taking seriously is themselves, and then that is influencing the relationship. All right, this concludes the reading for pile number 3. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment down below if it resonates with you. I hope it helps. And I will see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.